So thanks for coming. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to actually. Do you want me to take that for you?
Thank you.
Out of your busy schedule to come and be in here in Australia. So Ben has gone through. I'll give Ben a clap. Thanks, Ben. We'll speak to you in a minute.
I'm gonna.
No, don't go. You stay. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Because we might need you later. Probably not, because we now have 2 women on stage, right? But if we need to, you'll be a good reference, right? So, Rihanna, if you just want to tell these guys, are you right here, or are you comfortable there? So if you just tell it like we did with Ben, we know what Ben does. He gets the property. So what is it that you actually do with 21st Century?
We manage the rental property for 21st Century's clients. We handle all the screening and making sure the property is rented and maintained.
Make sure they're what?
It's rented.
Rented, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just your accent.
Avoiding vacancies.
Sorry.
Vacancies.
Vacancies, sorry. I'm like, it's just, you're so far away. It's just really hard to understand you. I'll just stand next to you. Okay, so when we go into the US, what are the services that you offer our guys? So you find the tenants for us, correct?
We do.
Yep. And you screen them?
We do, yep. It's a full background check that we do, rental history, employment verification. It's a very thorough check that we do on all of our tenants.
So as far as the rental demand, right, are we like, if these guys looking at, like, I know personally that I would need to make sure that I've got people actually paying the rent, make sure they're paying it on time, make sure they're good tenants, but at the same time, what other processes what's the average length of these
Like
leases?
in Australia, it's generally 12 months. However, with the economy the way that it is, there are a lot of people that are looking for longer term leases because they want to really settle in and find a place that they can stay for a few years.
So we've heard some serious horror stories in Australia, right? So how do you make like me, how would you convince me that if I'm investing in the US, I know what I look for here in Australia when I'm buying properties and in my tenants, so how can you reassure me that we do hear these horror stories. Ben was talking before, and the categories that we don't go to, like Detroit and Buffalo and places like that. How do we know? Where's our assurance that you are selecting the right tenants for us?
Well, the first thing is 21st Century is very involved with us. We talk to them almost on a daily basis, so they know what's going on. And the other thing is we're performance-based. So if the property's not rented, we're not collecting any money. So it's in our best interest to put a good tenant in there and keep the property maintained.
Okay, wonderful. Well, you'll be able to speak to Rihanna later in the breakout room. She's going to be with us and Ben. It's one of those rooms. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But, and at the end, you can feel free, you can go to the back of the room and speak to Rihanna in depth. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give this beautiful Barbie doll a welcome and thank you. And if you just take a seat with Ben. Ben, you're supposed to bring a chair for her. See, in Australia, Australian men actually escort their women over and then they sit them down. Yeah. That's what we do in Australia, don't we?
I'm going to have to hang out here for a little. Am I on? Okay.
You're on, Ben.
I'm back on. Okay, great. Lou, one thing I wanted to do real quick before we break here is I just want to talk a little bit about the currency exchange and the opportunity today.
Yeah, good point. Okay, you want to flip the chart there?
Just want to go over that here real quick. A lot of... I guess when we talk a lot, we talk in terms of opportunity. You've mentioned opportunity of a lifetime. We haven't seen the economic cycle that we're in right now. We haven't really seen it in my lifetime at all. Probably won't see it again in my lifetime, I wouldn't think. So what we have here is we have sort of a double dip. You guys, there's two benefits right now of investing. So the stars are aligning right now, especially for Australians. Your currency, your Australian dollar is up. The US dollar is down, right? So you guys know this. So historically, the Australian dollar is sitting around 70 to 80 cents historically over the historic term. Right now, you're above our dollar. So, and then the other thing right now that you have, here's one benefit you've got working in your favor. The other benefit is that U.S. housing, right? U.S. housing values have plummeted. So you sort of have a double dip. The stars are aligning right now. For Australia, you're in a very strong position of power right now, okay? There's an opportunity right now for you to take advantage of this, and who knows how long that opportunity is going to last. When you take your Australian dollar today, you invest it over in America, you buy a house for $50,000, $100,000, it's cash flowing at 10 to 20% net. What you're doing is you're actually making a currency exchange at the same time. You guys understand this? Okay. So Harry Dent, I think he spoke this morning, he's talking about how he thinks the Australian dollar is going to come down, the American dollar is going to come back up. So what you do when you lock this in, you lock in your investment, your Australian dollar, you get the currency exchange straight away. Once the US dollar starts coming back, then you're collecting your rents in US dollars, right? So not only do you have your 10, 20% net that you're getting just straight off the calculation, but you've also got to factor in your currency exchange. So when the US dollar starts coming back, the Australian dollar starts coming down, you now have another even wider opportunity, so you're making even more money on that. Does that make sense? So the other thing about it too, US housing is, we're selling houses now fully renovated, tenanted, cash flowing. You're not going to have to mess with them maintenance-wise for years. These properties we're selling for 70%, 60% of what you can build them for. Not 60 or 70% of what they were previously sold for. I'm talking you can build them for. So you can't go in and actually build these houses new for the cost that we're selling them for today. So how long is that going to last? I don't think it's going to last very long. So again, we talk about opportunity of a lifetime. I'm not a salesman by trade. I'm not like a high pressure. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do, but I will say this. If you're looking for opportunity, if you're looking to take advantage of an economic cycle that we probably won't see again in our life, now's the time to do it. U.S. real estate is solid, despite what the media might tell you. If you go over to America today, I've had Australians come and visit me quite often, and pretty much all of them come in and they say, "What recession? What are you guys talking about?" Because I know in the media, the media makes a story, and they sort of make things worse, I think, than what they are. If you come over to America today, you'll see people living and working. It's hard to even tell that there's a recession going on. Yeah, certainly we don't see as many Hummers driving around. People have got a few more Toyota Priuses, these types of things. So people have they're not living sort of as frivolously as what we used to. But at the same time, people are still getting jobs. There's companies that are growing. The spirit of the American people is alive and well. America is coming back. America is still a strong country. It's a good country to invest in. Right now, you have a unique opportunity to take advantage of the cycle and get in right now, just sort of where the stars are aligning. Who knows how long this is going to last? I don't know. What I would do is I would go ahead and go on to the back there if you're interested. Take advantage of the opportunity. Take advantage of the times. We're not going to see these again.
Yeah, so. Excellent. So what we're going to bring up now is Warren Black, if he's here. Warren, are you here? Who knows of Warren Black? Have we got the screen up, please? We got the screen. So Warren Black is the head of he's a lawyer and head of 21st Century Accounting Services, certified accountant and an accomplished pianist. And apparently the best looking man in 21st century. So Warren, are you here? He is here. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome Warren Black? He's actually just come from the West Wing, and we've had the last minute. Beautiful, Warren. Excellent.
Hey, Warren.
Warren, I'm going to give her a kiss. Give her a kiss. She's a beautiful girl. Give her a kiss. I just told him how Australian men greet women, so this is Rihanna. Yeah, you don't shake her hand. Warren, come on. So Warren.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I love it.
I knew that would happen. I absolutely knew that.
She didn't tell me that about
Australian men.
Australian
Actually, I saw you
men.
looking at him before you even looked at Rihanna.
Equality, just to make sure Ben didn't miss out there.
So Warren, thanks, mate.
Thanks,
You've finished your session up there in the breakout room, so you guys can actually see him again later. But let's just quickly go through what you do, Warren, what you do with 21st Century and as our accountant.
Well, basically, everyone, I look after people's asset protection and tax planning and really make sure that the greedy golden scumbags can't touch your assets, and I make sure that the government will not take any more and reap where they have not sown. So I do that whether you're buying Australian assets, US property assets. I'm passionate to make sure that you don't pay any more to the government when you have to. Who loves that? Exactly.
So I've heard that there's people that can actually take advantage of this through self-managed super funds. So can you just go through that quickly?
Absolutely. The thing is, it's quite easy to think, look, I don't have much money or much cash to buy this. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, as Ben rightly pointed out. The thing is right now, who here has got a lot of money or a good amount of money in super, but not much money, just say, in your normal account? Put your hand up. A few of you, okay. You can actually set up what's called a self-managed superannuation fund, which means that rather than BHP, AXA, or some other company look after your super and pay you 1% every 10 years or whatever, you can take control of your own super, have it in a self-managed fund, and you can buy US property, buy Australian properties, buy shares, do trading. Pretty much most of the stuff you've heard this weekend, you can do that through superannuation. And US property, I think personally, is an absolute classic investment. Why? Because super really kicks in when you're 60 in Australia. Until then, the money sits there and you can't use it. Let's just say that you buy US, like let's say you're about 30, 40, even 45. Now, US property is probably going to have its biggest gains in the coming years to come. Who thinks there's a chance that in the next 15, 20 years, US property might go up again? I think we'd all agree there is a pretty good chance of that. Imagine, for example, buying, let's say you bought $300,000 or $100,000 of US property, held it in a self-managed fund for about another 20 years, it goes up 3 or 4 times in value. The capital gain will be tax-free in Australia. Why? Because once you hit 60, you pay no tax in self-managed super at all, no tax. So any gains made in your super fund are tax-free. Any pension you draw out is tax-free. And even up until age 60, you only pay 15% tax on the gains or the net income in your fund. So those sexy rental returns that Ben and Rena were talking about, you actually will pay only 15% tax in Australia. So the short answer is, if you don't have a self-managed fund and you're serious about buying US property, then it's certainly something you should be looking at quite seriously. It's, again, I'm not an investment advisor in terms of license. I have to make that clear. You obviously have to do your own diligence on that. But on a practical level, you pay no tax. It's a long-term, US property is a long-term investment, as you've been pointed out here. And a self-managed super fund is a very, very good entity to basically do that.
So if these guys, like for example me, do we pay tax, Aussies, do we pay tax over in the US? How does that work? Because that's probably one of the most common questions that people ask.
Well, unfortunately, as we tend to know with governments, governments don't like giving up their taxing rights, do they? So if you've got 3 governments involved, all 3 of them want to tax you. So we do have things like double tax treaties between Australia and US. In a very, very simplistic answer to that, you will pay tax in both Australia and US, unfortunately. However, you will be credited in Australia for tax you pay in US. So let's say, for example, you're up for 30% tax on your rent in Australia, your net rent, and you pay, say, 20% in the US. You'll pay the 20% in the US, you'll pay the 30% in Australia, less the 20% in the US. So you effectively will have to lodge tax returns in the US and in Australia.
Okay, excellent. So is there, on a final note, so is there anything major that we need to be aware of?
Yes, absolutely. The biggest thing to be aware about is when you're buying US property is structuring yourself in a way to avoid being sued and to minimise your tax. So I just been speaking in the breakout room about being sued in Australia, and the average person gets sued 3 times in their lifetime in Australia. California at one stage, for example, was 4 to 5 times. So lawsuits are actually really, really high in the US, as we've all heard about. Now, so buying a property in the US, you don't even think about buying it in your own name. You buy in what's called an LLC, or limited liability company. Now, when you do that, if you're buying it through superannuation, or buying it, say, in your own name, it's very different how you structure your LLC. So it's very important to get proper advice on that first and do it properly. So, for example, if you're going to be buying in super, you have to have what's called a bare trust agreement between your super fund and an LLC. And then you've also got to have the right people owning the membership interest in the LLC. And then if you're buying in your own name, you might seriously look at a family trust to own your interest in the LLC for asset protection further in the US. Now, I haven't got time to go into intricate details on that, but to cut a long story short, make sure that when you're buying your US property, you want to be structured properly, and you want to make sure that you've got the right names, because the right names are critical if things go wrong. It's probably the main thing, Lou.
That's wonderful, Warren. And you'll be able to speak to Warren. As I said, we're doing the US, a deeper one in the side sessions today, and Warren will have a fair bit of time to actually go through more details and more questions. It's a more intimate environment. So, ladies and gentlemen, give Warren, our favourite accountant, a round of applause. So just stay here, Warren. So while you're there, guys, this is the team, or a portion of the team. As you know, Rihanna, she'll be here over the weekend. So will Ben. Ben will be here over the weekend. You can't miss them. Ken and Barbie, they'll walk around together. And Warren, obviously, he's our most favourite accountant and lawyer. But these guys are going to now go to the back of the room. So those people who want to ask more questions or take up this opportunity, you guys can meet them in the back of the room. Otherwise, you can meet them at the breakout room. So ladies and gentlemen, give a beautiful Australian thank you for joining us. And you guys off now. So they'll be at the back of the room. So thank you. Okay. Now, just the last 3 minutes of the presentation. The other thing, we've gone through the properties. We've gone through, a bit of the structure, right? And as Warren said, it's important to have it all structured, so you get into less trouble later. But there's also the opportunity for people, if they're not into the houses, they can look at getting into, we've got some bulk deals. So the bulk deals, they're located in Phoenix, right? And these bulk deals can be sold individually. So we've got, like, for example, if you want to package 2 or 3 or 4 condos together, which are like apartments, right? In this example, we've got them for $80,000 with a 10% return. And they're broken down into 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and so forth. So some of you may not want actual houses, you may prefer to have condos or apartments. And you can speak to the team at the back of the room about that. And also, we've got a US property stand located on the right-hand side of the stage that you can speak to those guys, and they can give you more information about the bulk deals. So there's another one with a combination of 4 with $100,000, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bed, 1 bath, and 2 bed, 2 bath. So God, to me, it's a no-brainer. If I see a house that's worth $30,000, $40,000, no, not worth, that costs that much to buy, to me, it's a good opportunity, right? And all I'm looking at is the numbers. And as long as someone's there looking after the rent and receives the rent, then I'm a happy chick, right? So if you want more information about the bulk deals, you can get that at the back of the room as well, and the dudes can speak to that. Now, this is one, I just want to quickly show you this beautiful little house. I was in Brisbane a week and a half ago with Jamie and Eric, and we were doing a one-day US property event, and I was just at the back of the room, just doing stuff on my Mac, and then I saw this property pop up, just like Ben was doing it. It's near Kansas, right? It was previously $113,000, it was $49,000 to buy, and the rental net yield is 21%. The gross yield is nearly 26%. So my ears pricked up right at 21%. Whose ears prick up at 21%? Anybody? Excellent. That's what I did, because I'm at the back of the room just doing my stuff. My ears pricked up, and I went, is that right? Is that right, what Jamie just said? Is that really 21%? And you know what? Eric Bailey and Rhonda were sitting in the front, right? Because they want to, they're homies. They want to buy some of their own houses, right? And then I saw Eric get itchy, right? And I just got up and I just went up to see the girls at the back, and I said, can you just pull that one aside? And what I did is I actually bought it that day, right? And this is what I did. I went up there, I filled out the paperwork. All I did, right? It's located in near Kansas, St. Louis. I liked it because it had my name in it, St. Louis, right? But it was a no-brainer. It was $49,000. I paid cash for it. I'm getting $1,050 rent a month. I have 2 tenants in it. It's a duplex. So if one tenant leaves, I've got another tenant. I took out 12 months rental insurance just to give myself peace of mind. I've given it to these guys to actually look after for me. And then I come home and tell my husband. I said, oh, babe, can you sign here? He goes, what? I said, this is called a limited liability company. What's this for? Oh, don't worry, I bought you a present. I'll tell you next week, right? So I did. I told him later because he didn't need to know, because he has faith and trust in me. So for me, that's just one of a start of many, right? But an opportunity came. The rest in that day was sold as well. But the person who's in a position to do that can do that. If you need finance, you go and see finance people. If you need to structure your business, you go and see Warren. I bought it in my trust, which is called Lucrative. Like that company? My company's called Lucrative, right? Lucrative Real Estate LLC, they set up the limited liability company for me. They actually did everything for me because, as I said, I don't actually want to do stuff, right? So I'm not going to show you the videos. You can look at the videos online of testimonials. we're not here to flog this thing. We're just saying that there's an opportunity for you. If some of you want to join us, we've been 3 or 4 trips to the US already. You know that we went to Antigua a couple of years ago. Last year we went to the Caribbean. When we stepped off the Caribbean, we had about 50, 60 of our clients that want to travel with me, Jamie, Eric, Nick Halleck, Greg, all of those guys. And we, because you've got to have a lifestyle. It's not just about, investing and doing stuff. It's a holistic package. That's what it's about. But you need to be able to have fun with the people that you love and the people that are going to raise your standard. So if you want to come with us, we're going February, March. We're going back to the US. We do an 8-city tour. 8-day, 3-city tour. And we just travel around and you can check out the properties. The last time I went there, people were buying properties. We've got a boot camp, which is in Melbourne, around the same time, February. Where am I? Melbourne, sorry. In Melbourne, in a few months' time. And so, but you get a DVD set that covers everything. And it's filmed through our last Phoenix trip. It's got Jamie, it's got Ben, it's got the entire banking people, it's got the insurance and the tax people, etc. So if you don't want to travel with us to go and select your properties, right, you can actually go over yourself. So you go, okay, actually I'm pretty keen on going to actually look at these houses, right? So if you want to do that, you can go on a private tour, right? You can select a property that you want, and if you put a deposit down for the property, now my deposit for the property just to hold it, to take it off the market, was $2,500, right? That was my deposit, because it's only a $49,000 house, right? So I put that down and locked it in, right? And then I got everything structured and set up. Now, if you buy a house over there, we'll pay for your airfares back or reimburse you for the cost of your airfare. So some people want to go on their own. Some people just want to travel with us. So there's our last group of people, and there's the houses that they bought, right? And we'd come off the Caribbean, 10-day beautiful Caribbean cruise, and then went off to Phoenix to buy some houses. Who thinks that's a beautiful way to live? You know what I mean? Traveling the world, hanging out with people you like, and making money. And learning strategies to make more money. That's what it's about. The key is to keep that momentum going and keep that drive forward. So there's some more photos, the guys in the bus moving around. There's our film crew. The film crew have been amazing. They're back down there and they're just working tirelessly. They've just been brilliant. So you can get on our website and have a look at the houses and the video testimonials of different people. And the membership for those people who are interested is twofold. You can be a basic member, which entitles you to one property, right? That all the due diligence and everything is done, the tenants, you can either get 21st Century's team to actually do all this work for you, or you can go off and do it yourself, and it's entirely up to you, right? Because some people want to do it themselves. Or you can do a membership, the Platinum, which is unlimited amount of properties. But you guys, the Platinum dudes, they get first dibs on the houses, right? So if the houses come in, and as I said, these houses last maybe 3 or 4 days. Like the ones when I did last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, it got snatched up by the staff, right? So you got to be in a position to be able to take advantage of this. So if you guys want to do that, you can speak to the guys at the back of the room. Oh, do you know what? I am so on time. I've got 24 seconds left. See, chicks, we are structured. We know what we're doing. Target driven. So access to one property, you can see the guys down the back of the room. Platinum, unlimited, which means unlimited amount of properties that you can invest in. But you're also going to get the boot camp, the 3 private tour, the US tours, the home study package, which goes for about 5 days of DVDs. It's about that thick, and it's everything. It's all about banking, insurance. You see the crew actually going through the houses. They've all been rented. They've all been tenanted, right? If you find a house that you like and it's got no tenant in it, well, then you don't have to pay until we found a tenant for you. So everything is done for you. The event offer for this is those people who enroll, we will cover the cost of all your setup. Setting up your limited liability company, all your structures, setting up bank fees and stuff, your employment identification number, all of those admin fees. So then the only fee you have to worry about is the cost of your property. And then the only other decision you need to make is how many properties you want to get. So pretty much that's it for me. Those people who are interested at this event, I'm going to give you $5,000 off your property. So if you see a house later on that you like, or you book in an appointment, you can see the US property team. They'll be located all weekend at the back. I just want to leave you with this final thing. It's been an absolute pleasure to, actually be on this stage. It is one of those things that was on my vision board a few years ago. I went, wow, how cool would it be one day standing on a big stage like this? And I am. And it's because you have made me feel so welcome and warm. I'd like to thank you. If you want to see this for what it is an amazing opportunity. It doesn't come along very often. As I said, maybe 50, 60 years. See it for what it is. Don't think about it. If you want to do it, go up the back, speak to the team, do it. I'd like to thank you for your time. My name is Harty, and thank you.